All right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Free Association. It's Monday, the 24th of July, 2023. My name's Dennis, and I don't have anything really to talk about, so I'm just going to play some material. Let's have a look at BitChute. I'll pick something random from BitChute and do my best not to play anything that's going to get me banned from YouTube or get me a community guidelines strike, which is probably going to be difficult given that they give you strikes for pretty much everything. And I'm trying to pick things that aren't already on YouTube as well, so all right, there's a lot of stuff on BitChute, but most of it will get me banned from YouTube. So I don't want to play any of it. Let's have a look. There's got to be something on here that I can play. There's actually not. It's not that much. Right, there's a lot of, well, David Icke material maybe I could play. The Operation Paperclip material, but even that is talking about Germany in the 1940s, which won't get me banned, but it will get me a warning, I think. Even the Duran doesn't talk about Nazis. All right, let's try this report about wildfires in Rhodes and Corfu. It's from GB News, so it is already on YouTube, but I'm not going to play the video. I'm just going to let you listen to the audio, I think.
Here's a comment. Andrew's got in touch with us. He says, I used to live and work there. Greece burns every year. Why is the media blaming it all in climate change? So, he goes back 16 years, but there is a definite change, is there not, in what is happening?
Yes, I think the topic of climate change is a multifaceted beast. I mean, first of all, we look at what's happening in Europe. Now, these are temperatures that are extraordinary. The last time I was in here, I was telling you that I have never written about such sustained temperatures of this magnitude in my entire career. I remember looking at a map here, and between 35 and 40 right across Europe, low humidity.
All right, so the thing about the temperatures is that for some reason people started using ground temperatures instead of air temperatures recently. So that's going to have an impact on the overall average. And I think that's one of the reasons the temperatures are being shown as being high. There's a lot of fear mongering going on about temperatures that I don't like people mongering fear.
and we're seeing what's happening in roads. Now, the issue comes to climate change, and I know there is a lot of contention around this subject, and I am very open to having a reasoned and rational debate about this, because I think the time has come for us to have that. The climate has changed cyclically over the millennia. We know that it has changed due to many natural phenomena. Radiation from the sun, changes in the structure of the surface of the earth, changes in the atmospheric structure, all of those things. But what people are seeing at the moment seems to be an exponential rise in climate, and that seems to be linked, due to the science is showing, to carbon dioxide and greenhouse gases.
We've been talking about this weather dome, particularly over southern Europe, for a week now, but it seems to be that the wind has had a huge impact, particularly in roads. A friend of mine flew out there on Saturday. She was aware that there were a few problems, but apparently 2 o'clock Saturday afternoon, the wind direction changed and her whole resort burnt down.
Yes, and this is the absolute danger with this. What we are now into is almost 2 weeks of this astonishing heat wave that has turned Europe into a tinderbox. It's turned roads into a tinderbox. It has turned Corfu. There is very low humidity at the moment, and it hasn't rained because of this high pressure, and that is clear blue skies, strong sunshine at this time of year over the continent, which gets stronger sunshine than we do. The ground is drying out. It's not sweating, for want of a better word, to cool down, because there's been no rain. It is very dry. The foliage, the flora out there is very combustible, and a change of wind will drive these wildfires. Now, we're seeing this in roads. I mean, these are horrific pictures. These must be terrifying for the people that are out there. But roads at the moment, now the whole of Europe has been affected by this heat wave, under this heat dome, this high pressure that has dried it out.
Right, so he's using language there that's like horrific and terrifying. And if you're anywhere near a wildfire, you just walk in the other direction. You don't need to be terrified. You're just walking in the other direction. So there's no need for the superlatives and the frightening language. Again, I don't like fear-mongering.
Out, and is bringing astonishingly high temperatures that don't seem to be looking like they're going to abate. And the fear is, we're seeing roads at the moment, but what is this going to lead to, and when is this going to end, and what are the implications for that? Not only for people going there at the moment, but what are the long-term implications for this heat wave in Europe for us? What does this mean for all of us?
Well, I think the big implication, I think a lot of people may well be sympathetic to the fact that things are changing. What they're not sympathetic about, it seems to me, is paying for it. And paying for it, it's what to them seems over a very short period of time.
Yeah, and I sort of agree with this. And you've got to look at whether and this comes down to whether people believe that is there anything we can do about the climate, the climate, I'm going to say crisis, I know you get people worked up, but the situation. And as I said, I'm a huge fan of actually people coming together and having a sensible, rational debate about this, because it needs to happen, in a non-hysterical way. There is some evidence, there are authors out there who've written that if small changes, a 10% change in the behaviour of most people in the Western world would bring the reduction in climate that we need, water pumps instead of gas heaters, going to electricity. It doesn't mean huge changes.
It's a cost of living crisis,
but it is.
People are already hurting financially, and talking about ULEZ specifically in London, the Labour Party even saying that this has become sort of class issue, that working class people cannot afford to get new cars.
Absolutely.
All right, there you go. So that's GB News. Let's see if there's anything else on here. I don't want to just play GB News clips, but let's, here we go. It's another one about the what used to be called the congestion charge, which is now ULEZ.
A huge dispute, we know, behind the scenes between the Labour leader Sir Keir Starmer after the Labour Party did not win the Uxbridge by-election, which they expected to, and the London Mayor Sadiq Khan over his ultra-low emissions zone, which he wants to expand. £12.50 a day. People don't like it. Dennis McShane is with us, the former Labour minister. Dennis, it was Labour's to lose, and they blew it.
I'm not sure. We've never won Uxbridge. Under the great Harold Wilson,
7,000
under the wonderful Tony Blair. No, that's true. Look, Carol's right on that point. I canvassed 2 weeks ago in Uxbridge. I saw every driveway with well, it was raining, so not many people talked to me. But every driveway had at least 3 cars on them.
Yeah.
And I tweeted at the time saying, I'm very worried that ULEZ may cost us this election.
And you were
Nobody
right.
took any notice. But let's be quite real, half of those cars were Teslas. None of the modern cars will have to pay the
But
ULEZ thing.
Starmer's senior advisors have been advising him for months that ULEZ is toxic and it's going to lose you the election. And he ignored that. And then he suddenly discovers it on this week. And then he blames Khan for it.
Oh, I think, yes, I think that was not right. Plain fact is, Boris Johnson introduced ULEZ. He also said that we'd have to go get all our fossil fuel cars off the roads by 2030. In Spain, where there was an election last night, where the socialists did very well, it's 2050. Well, this is a point. This is Boris is never around when he has to take responsibility.
He's a former MP. Now, let's bring into the conversation Susan Hall, who is the recently nominated Conservative candidate to be Mayor of London next May. Susan Hall, good morning. Congratulations on your nomination. This potentially is the best chance for the Tories to win back London from Sadiq Khan, because people can't stand this ultra-low emission zone, and they particularly object to it being expanded.
Absolutely right, and actually I think they can't stand Sadiq Khan either. It's not just a case of the ultra-low emission zone, it's a situation with the police under special measures, the fire brigade under special measures, and this mayor does not listen to what any of Londoners are saying, and that's the problem we've got. It's not just the ULEZ, it's all the other things that contribute to this mayor being so ineffective.
It's hypocrisy as well, isn't it? You know, a few weeks ago, he was just saying that the ULEZ expansion couldn't be dropped because the air in London was so toxic, children's lungs were rotting, it was causing asthmatic conditions for people. If he does a U-turn now, which is looking like he might,
You won't.
does that mean he doesn't care about children's lungs anymore?
No, I mean, a person doesn't care about
I'm
I'm so
confused
sorry.
there. Hold on.
Let Susan Hall answer, then we'll bring Dennis Shane in. Susan.
I don't think he will back down on it. He's very stubborn. He's put his foot down. He said all along he wants to do it. I personally would be very surprised if he does. The court case will hopefully come up with some sort of verdict by the end of this week. Even then, I would be very surprised if he changed his mind, because he's just not listening to anybody.
Very simply, I'm going down after this program to look after my 6-month-old granddaughter, second one. The idea that any Tory candidate for London should say, like Susan is, that she should grow up in the most polluted city in Europe, second only to Turkey, from respiratory illnesses thanks to air pollution, I think is unacceptable. Now, there's a compromise. There's tons of compromise. And I agree, Sadiq has been playing politics. Mr. Sakir has been playing politics. Trust me, Susan, trust you, by the time of the election, your election, which you'll lose next May, plus then the general election, this will be sorted out within the Labour Party.
Dennis, if Khan goes ahead with this, he's going to be pitting himself against every Labour MP and candidate that wants to get
Which is why, as I said, it's already, the deal's been done behind the scenes, and I can tell you, I love the idea of Tories saying, right, scrap everything, continue air pollution, let the little Londoners die.
You're distorting what Tories are saying, so let's hear Susan Hall.
Yes, he is. Thank you very much. If you look at TfL's own impact assessment about the ULEZ expansion, it says it will make virtually no difference at all. Now, I don't know why you're ignoring that, because it's important. We need to look at little areas of hotspots where there are issues, and there's plenty of money to do this. But if you look at the amount of money Sadiq Khan has thrown at this, he's not going to back down. He should do. It's taxpayers' money, and it will make very, very little difference, except to poor families who simply cannot afford to replace their vehicles. And if you did not on the Smith doors as I have,
That's enough of that, I think. A little bit too political today for me, but that's the way it is.